What's up, everybody? Gobble gobble. Happy Thanksgiving. Hashtag COVID Thanksgiving 2020. How's it going, everybody? What's up, Greg? How you doing?
How's it going, guys? I'm doing well. It was funny that you just said gobble gobble right now. Earlier, a couple days ago, we were playing with the kids, and we play a game called Zombie Tag. So we act like a zombie. You have to walk around, and you tag. When you tag someone, they become a zombie, and the first person tagged is the person who becomes a zombie next game. But you still have to catch everyone. But one of the kids decided to change and do turkey zombie tag. So you go around as a turkey zombie going. So that reminded me of that. That was funny.
That's funny, dude. So what's going on, man? I mean, so today we're going to be talking about a little bit about the history of Thanksgiving and what it means to me and Greg. So let me just find my place. But before then, what did you do for Thanksgiving? Aside from, we actually had you over for dinner, but, the day, what did you do for Thanksgiving that day?
This year's Thanksgiving, it threw me off because usually I go to my parents' house for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then I may go to a few other people's houses like after a traditional Thanksgiving. So this year, my parents had moved to Arizona, so I can't go to their house. So now it was kind of like, I got nothing to do. So most of the day I didn't have anything to do. I had some plans to go and have breakfast, but that didn't happen. And then I kind of just hung out until later on that night. Went to your guys' house and did Thanksgiving there. But the whole day I didn't really do anything. It was just kind of typical day. Went outside, ran around with the kids, and that was it.
Yeah. So I found my spot here. So instead of the usual excerpt from the haikus, today we're going to be reading the story behind Thanksgiving here as a holiday in the United States. So Thanksgiving Day is a national holiday in the United States, and Thanksgiving 2020 occurs on Thursday, November 26th. That was a few days ago. In 1621, the Plymouth colonists and Wampanoag Native Americans shared an autumn harvest feast that is acknowledged today as one of the first Thanksgiving celebrations in the colonies. For more than 2 centuries, days of Thanksgiving were celebrated by individual colonies and states. It wasn't until 1863, in the midst of the Civil War, the President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a national Thanksgiving Day be held each November. So, you said that you had done a little bit of research on Thanksgiving. Did you hear or see where Thanksgiving came from?
Well, yeah, I hear so many different things that some people are like, why do we celebrate it? Because it's just a celebration of slavery and the slaughtering of people. And then you hear the stories where it was people coming over and settling here, and it was not a good place to be. I think they said about 20% of the people who would come to the United States would actually live.
Oh, yeah. So this is a really interesting story behind that.
And so what it also kind of sounded like too was that the 20% of the people who lived, and then the same thing with the Indians were dying of disease, and at the same time, I'm sure they were fighting with the settlers and stuff, but it was them coming together, the ones who were alive, and making sure that they stayed alive.
Well, okay, so let's go back to where these settlers were coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in September 1620, a small ship called the Mayflower left Plymouth, England, carrying 102 passengers, an assortment of religious separatists seeking a new home where they could freely practice their faith, and other individuals lured by the promise of prosperity and land ownership in the New World, in the Western world. After a treacherous and uncomfortable crossing that lasted 66 days, they dropped anchor near the tip of Cape Cod, far north of their intended destination at the mouth of the Hudson River. 1 month later, the Mayflower crossed Massachusetts Bay, where the Pilgrims, as they are now commonly known, began the work of establishing a village at Plymouth. So this is actually what you were just talking about. Throughout that first brutal winter, most of the colonists remained on board the ship, where they suffered from exposure, scurvy, and outbreaks of contagious diseases like COVID. Just kidding. Only half of the Mayflower's original passengers and crew lived to see their first New England spring. In March, the remaining settlers moved ashore, where they received an astonishing visit from the Abenaki Native American who greeted them in English. Interesting. Several days later, he returned with another Native American, Squanto, a member of the Pawtucket tribe who had been kidnapped by an English sea captain and sold into slavery before escaping to London and returning to his homeland on an exploratory expedition. Squanto taught the Pilgrims, weakened by malnutrition and illness, how to cultivate corn, extract sap from maple trees, catch fish in the rivers, and avoid poisonous plants. He also helped the settlers forge an alliance with the Wampanoag, a local tribe which would endure for more than 50 years and tragically remains one of the sole examples of harmony between Europeans, colonists, and Native Americans.
That was one of the things, how you said how he helped them learn to farm and cultivate things from the land. One of the things of a lot of the people who came over to settle here, they felt very like entitled to not have to farm. So a lot of the leaders were like, I would rather starve than farm. And so that's why a lot of people were dying, because they had, once they used their resources from what they brought over, this is it, they're done. So people were dying because of the lack of knowledge, the lack of willingness to do the work to survive.
And so because they didn't want to leave the ship, they were trying to stay in the ship, eat all the food that they brought over, all the resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
And them not wanting, you mean, so they didn't want to go out and farm and live off the land, and that's why they came down with all the disease?
They just didn't want to farm. No. The disease didn't have to do with the farming. They just didn't want to farm. Like, they were above that.
Oh, I see. So
it's like okay. You think of like a valley girl who won't pick up the dog's poop because she's above picking up the poop, so she just leaves it on the floor.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So that then when you go to her house is just littered with poop everywhere, and you think that like she'll end up dying because of poop poisoning,
or the landscaper does it.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm very interested in learning a little bit more about Squanto. And why was it that he helped them at that time? Was it because he was sold to them through slavery? Was he acquired by these pilgrims? Or because if anything, it's all Squanto's fault. Because without him, everybody would have died.
Well, that's what I've always been curious about sometimes too, is during times of like slavery like that, or trafficking of humans, however you want to call it, did some people do it because it was so common within the group of people? Like, I would buy a slave because they were useful, but I would have absolutely no ill will. But I can't, if I were to let them be a free person, I would know exactly what was going to happen to them. Almost like buying them to be a friend so that something else doesn't happen to them. Knowing that's the super high possibility that it would happen. I think
at that period of time, it was acceptable. It was something you did. In fact, we can research this too, but I think that many of the slaves the African American slaves, I don't know, but the Native American slaves back then, the African slaves came from Africa, were actually already enslaved. So they were sold to other people at that point in time. And the thing is that we don't know. This story, it's interesting, and it's giving us like uh, we're an image. We're painting an image with this story.
Yeah, we're getting
We're
getting basic.
Yeah, but we don't know who wrote this story, right? It's always somebody else's story, and that's actually interesting about podcasting. Is because as we go through, the conversations and we record and we upload it, you can actually go back and see who said what and who and what was said and what was the intent behind it.
Yeah.
You can't do that with text.
Yeah, it's just like, let's say I go out hunting. I go out hunting and I come back with a big old black bear, and I tell you this whole story. Sure, any of it could be true because I came back with a black bear. But what if I went out there and another black bear ended up killing that black bear, and then I just shot it with my bow, or I shot it with my gun to make it seem like I was the one who did it, and absolutely nothing of the story I told you was true. But you just saw an end result, and we're like, oh, okay,
right.
So I mean, that's the thing about history and Thanksgiving, and that's why I told you earlier in the podcast, it's hard to really believe a lot of the stories. Like, sure, I believe a lot of bad things happened, and I believe a lot of good things happened as well. So it's like, I don't.
Yeah, we don't really know. We don't know for sure. But let's
when it comes down to celebrating Thanksgiving, like I've thought about this. We weren't there. We're not there to celebrate what this person did to that person. We're here to have dinner with our friends and to enjoy each other's company. That's really what it comes down to most of these holidays. Like,
well, for nowadays, see, okay, so actually the next paragraph talks about how it started and what that feast became. As we know, it's a family feast, right? Mm-hmm. We bring friends and family over, and we feast on turkey and desserts or whatnot. So in November 1621, after the Pilgrims' first corn harvest proved successful, Governor William Bradford organized a celebratory feast and invited a group of the fledgling colony's Native American allies, including the Wampanoag Chief Massasoit, now remembered as Americans' first Thanksgiving. Although the Pilgrims themselves may not have used the term at the time, the festival lasted for 3 days. While no record exists of the first Thanksgiving's exact menu, much of what we know about what happened at the first Thanksgiving comes from Pilgrim chronicler Edward Winslow, who wrote, Our harvest being gotten in, our governor sent 4 men on fowling, that so we might after a special manner rejoice together. After we had gathered the fruits of our labors, they 4 in one day killed as much fowl as with a little help beside served the company almost a week, at which time amongst other recreations we exercised our arms, many of the Indians coming amongst us, and amongst the rest the greatest king Massasoit, with some 90 men, whom for 3 days we entertained and feasted, and they went out and killed 5 deer, which they brought to the plantation, and bestowed on our governor and upon the captain and others. And although it be not always so plentiful as it was at this time with us, yet by the goodness of God we are so far from want, that we often wish you partakers of our plenty. I kind of got the gist of what. Oh, end quote.
End quote.
I got the gist of this. I guess this is a quote from Edward Winslow, who was a Pilgrim chronicler. I guess he was the one keeping record and whatnot. But here it says, historians have suggested that many of the dishes were likely prepared using traditional Native American spices and cooking methods. That makes sense, huh, Greg?
Yeah. Likely there was probably... I would probably say there wasn't as much meat as there were other things.
Right.
There's probably a lot more foliage than there was meat.
Yeah. It says, because the Pilgrims had no oven and the Mayflower's sugar supply had dwindled, by the fall of 1621, the meal did not feature pies, cakes, or other desserts, which have become a hallmark of contemporary celebrations.
Well, we use advertisement as the way to push Thanksgiving. So when you say Thanksgiving, you think turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, some kind of vegetable, usually corn, and cranberry, and then some kind of bread, usually some kind of roll or something like that.
Yeah.
Everything outside of that, it's kind of just like if a family just really likes a specific dish.
Right.
But like every time I see it, no matter whose house I go to, cranberry is almost never touched. There's that one person who's like, "Oh, I love cranberry." And everyone's like, "Screw that! Don't put that on my plate."
I'm not a big fan of canned cranberries, to be honest.
I haven't seen anyone I've seen cranberries be added to like fruit dishes or like in salads or stuff like that. But like to make like just that dish itself, it's been advertised to us. Like no one eats it. It just goes to waste. Sure, it's probably pretty cheap, so no one cares. But why do we do that?
I don't know. I think it's just yeah, like you said, it's just part of the whole meal. Like you put cranberries on, on the meal as a side. You offer it. Although I don't know a lot of people that really eat it.
Why don't we just feast, but feast how we want to? Like we all have favorite dishes. Why don't we just, like how I said one year, my mom made us all our favorite dishes. So it came out to being like 7 different of our favorite dishes, which was also a huge feast. And I actually thought that the memory behind that Thanksgiving was so much more memorable than any other Thanksgiving. And it seemed like everyone was so much more thankful too. Because it was like you actually cared. It wasn't just something like Thanksgiving, here we go again. Like,
yeah, that's something that made it that much more special for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's something memorable. Not a lot of people have that. That's a really cool tradition.
So how do you
for your kids? You said that your mom made all of you and your brothers, your siblings, their favorite dish for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody had a lot of fun.
It's all about the games afterwards too.
The family games.
Yeah, we ended up playing this. I don't even know the name of the game. It's like a caveman game. It's Caveman Charades, essentially.
It was caveman poetry or something like that. Oh, Neanderthal poetry or something like that.
Yeah, so you flip a card and your teammate has to guess the word, and you can only describe that word with 1-syllable words. So you can try to make a sentence, but you have to say all 1-syllable words.
And this game we were actually played that night when for Thanksgiving. Greg came over and after dinner we played games. It was pretty fun. So how was Thanksgiving? How did Thanksgiving become a holiday? So the Pilgrims held their second Thanksgiving celebration in 1623 to mark the end of a long drought that had threatened the year's harvest and prompted Governor Bradford to call for a religious fast. Days of fasting and Thanksgiving on an annual or occasional basis became common practice in other New England settlements as well. During the American Revolution, the Continental Congress designated one or more days of Thanksgiving a year. And in 1789, George Washington issued the first Thanksgiving proclamation by the national government of the United States. In it, he called upon Americans to express their gratitude for the happy conclusion to the country's War of Independence and successful ratification of the U.S. Constitution. His successors, John Adams and James Madison, also designated days of thanks during their presidencies. In 1817, New York became the first of several states to officially adopt an annual Thanksgiving holiday, and each celebrated it on a different day, however, and the American South remained largely unfamiliar with the tradition. In 1827, the noted magazine's editor and prolific writer Sarah Joseph Hale, author among countless other things of the nursery rhyme Mary Had a Little Lamb, launched a campaign to establish Thanksgiving as a national holiday. For 36 years, she published numerous editorials and sent scores of letters to governors, senators, presidents and other politicians, earning the nickname the Mother of Thanksgiving. Abraham Lincoln finally heeded her request in 1863, at the height of the Civil War, in a proclamation entreating all Americans to ask God to commend to his tender care all those who have become widows, orphans, mourners, or sufferers in the lamentable civil strife, and to heal the wounds of the nation. He scheduled Thanksgiving for the final Thursday in November, and it was celebrated in that day every year until 1939, when Franklin D. Roosevelt. Well, we'll move on to that in a second, because first I want to stay on the subject of what the Thanksgiving is. So, for Thanksgiving, we usually, as a tradition, have turkey. Depending on what family I'm at, because now I have to split up family time for each holiday, and so something that I know most Mexicans do is make pozole or tamales.
Yeah,
not a lot of people eat turkey, and it's not like it's not something that we've been accustomed to. But lately, this week I actually had turkey pozole. I don't know if you've ever had that. It was actually.
I don't think I want it.
do you like pozole at all?
No.
Oh, yeah. So instead of pork pozole or chicken pozole, it was turkey pozole, which is always fantastic. We had that, and then for Thanksgiving dinner, we actually had a turkey, and then we had ham. We had Hawaiian rolls and a bunch of other bread that we had, and a few other things. So I kind of want to talk about the importance of the Thanksgiving holiday and how for me, it's like it's a specific day where you have the opportunity to hang out with family and friends and share your gratitude towards them. Mm-hmm. Like I texted all my buddies, like my close buddies and family and people that I really care about. Not that I don't care about for the people I didn't text, but for a certain few of you, I texted you guys just saying how much I'm grateful to have you guys in my life. It's something that we often forget as humans. Like we're the hustling and bustling of the everyday life and the fast-paced lifestyle that we live here. We forget, like, when was the last time that you said thank you to someone besides obviously besides being how do you say
prompted to do so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I said thank you all the time. I'm trying to remember you handed me this, and I don't even remember if I said thank you or not.
But I don't even mean like that. Like, I don't mean like do you say thank you like a moral obligation? No, it's more of when was the last time you said to somebody, even if it was your parents, like, hey, I'm really grateful for what you guys have done for me this year, or I'm very grateful for you guys.
It's actually funny. I have started to actually do that these last 6 months. My parents moved away, and I've been talking like I'll bring up something to my son. Like, my son does something and I say something to him, and then I go, damn it, I have to call my mom now. And I call her up and I say, hey, you remember that time when you told me to clean up and I said no, and you said if I don't clean up I'm gonna get hurt? Yeah. I just said that to my son. So I call her and I tell her, all right, you're right. Because we have that in our family. My mom would always try to be like, oh, I'm always right about this. I try never to lie or not tell the truth, and I'm almost never wrong. So every time now we catch her doing something wrong, telling the joke wrong or something that we make her say I was wrong.
Your mom?
Yeah, we make her say it straight out. so I thought it's only right to do it back now.
But isn't it funny how now that you're getting older and now that you're experiencing the same thing your mom was probably experiencing with you, how the tables have turned? And not that they turned, but that you understand where she was coming at, or where she was coming from at that point in time. And in fact, if you hadn't learned that, maybe you wouldn't be doing this with your son.
I think it prepared me to bring the lesson a different way, because it obviously didn't work on me earlier on. So obviously, if I do the same thing that my parents did to me, it'll more than likely not work the other way around.
Or maybe it will. Right? Maybe it will. Maybe the way you said it, or the circumstance in which your kid is in, is different from the one you were in.
But now what it's giving me is it's giving me two different possibilities of a way to treat the same situation. A way that I would have wanted to be treated when I was in that situation, and the way my parents treated it in the situation with me. So now I can have the opportunity of trying two different ways, which is a higher chance of getting something to break through than just going one way.
Yeah.
Which is very
So I
helpful.
think that's something that we should strive for, is, breaking the cycle in some cases of how you were born or how you were raised, and whether it was good or bad, you break those cycles and you try to do better in terms of, raising your own child. But so back to the question. So has there been anything that you've said, you know what, I'm grateful for you, a friend or anything like that, in the past, year? Because, obviously we're still struggling right now. 2020 has been pretty shitty so far. It's not even over. We still have, like, what, 31 days left?
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen. We may get abducted by UFOs. Pompeii might erupt again, or what's the other one? Yosemite.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't show my thanks and appreciation in the verbal form. Like yesterday, my neighbors were moving, and they didn't ask us for help. We offered it, and they said they had a lot of people, and so we just came down and we helped them load up the truck. They were moving like 5-10 minutes down the road, so we helped them. We helped them load the car and made sure the kids stayed out of the way. And then when they went to the house, we didn't go because I knew the kids would be in the way. So we stayed back. And so I cooked for everyone. Cooked for like 20 people. I said, hey, you guys want breakfast burritos when you get back? So I cooked up all the eggs. I cooked up everything out. We took a table down to their house and set up a buffet style. Everyone made their own thing. And I like to try to do more of an act than say the words. Now, I don't know exactly why that is. That's usually how I would rather show my thanks to people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think actions speak louder than words. And I think that's really interesting that you say that, because I think that generally I do the same. But I do also understand that sometimes somebody needs to hear it because maybe they need it.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom, like maybe not 10 years ago. Maybe I wasn't like the best son. But nowadays, as I get older, I'm realizing, man, like this lady has really worked hard for her family. How much time am I going to have with her? Like, I'm starting to realize all these things right now. And one of the things is like, well, one of the things that I can do is I can tell her how much I'm grateful for her and how much I appreciate her, like in her hard work and for giving me this life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I will I do things to help her with actions or to show my gratitude with actions. But sometimes I feel like she also it's nice to hear it. Like nobody's gonna say, "Oh man, I wish you didn't tell me that." More often than not, I'm pretty sure they're gonna appreciate that. Just the thought, even if it's a text. And I didn't really care if you guys said it or not when I messaged you guys on a group. But it was just something I felt like I needed to tell you guys. And I don't know, maybe you guys, maybe it, I don't know, maybe brightened up your day a little bit. Like, oh, somebody appreciates me. Oh, it's about time. You know?
God damn it.
Man. By the way, 2020, Greg's still single, ladies.
I need someone to take to Christmas.
You need somebody for cuddle weather.
No, you gotta wait till January. Everyone tries to stay with their significant other through Christmas, and then
it's free for all.
And then the birds come swooping. Mine.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. I feel like people need to hear it sometimes, and it's nice. Like if somebody gives you a compliment, you'll appreciate it. You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have time to show your things through an action. So that's actually really nice. You cooked up breakfast for everybody. You guys helped them move. They didn't ask, and I'm sure you guys are have a better bond now, right? You guys have more of a your guys' bond is a lot stronger in a way. So that's really cool. That's a good message.
Yeah, even with the kids, like every time I walk by the door, I make sure, like you can joke and still give thanks that they're around, and even just saying like that you love them. It is the same way as saying thanks, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I know so many men in today's world that especially Latino men. We come from a very machista culture where your dad would never really say "I love you," so we never really learned to say "I love you," and so it's created this I don't know, like there's created a lot of men who put up their walls and they don't really I don't know, like they won't let you in a way. But like I said, it's like good for us if we break that type of cycle. And like, I mean, why wouldn't you want to say I love you, right, to your kid or to your significant other, whoever, your parents? And it's funny because my mom, dude, every time we talk on the phone, I'm like, love you, mom. Okay, bye, okay. I'm like, love you, mom. Okay, love you too. Because she didn't grow up that way.
Uh-huh.
But, that's something I tend to, I want to change for the future generations whenever they come. That's something that I want to teach them. Like, there's nothing wrong. If anything, it's because, okay, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, my mom doesn't love me because she didn't say I love you, right? Because she's worked her ass off for 60 years, dude. Literally has worked her ass off 60 years. She's 70 years old and she's just still out there working right now. That's crazy. I don't know a lot of people who are 70 and still working.
Yeah.
That's really rare. And I'm not talking about like retirement work. She's still working. Now, what can I do to help her and to, well, one, that's another story, right? But anyway, I want to just kind of go back into what we were saying earlier. Is why won't we just break the cycle? Like, I'm telling you, my mom, I have to pull her ear for her to say it back, and I enjoy it because I think it's funny. It's funny that she's like, I get her uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and it's fun.
So that's one of the things you were reading about when he signed in Thanksgiving as a national holiday was to bring back the country and to kind of reset the animosity that the country had.
Yeah, through the Civil War.
And I don't know, maybe that's what was said, and maybe it was brought to be because of slavery and all that. But the concept behind it was also good and bad, kind of like the social media concept.
Well, the
Like
intention, the intention, like you said, was to bring the country back together.
Not to
That was
celebrate what had happened before.
Yeah, right.
It has to do with what happened before, but we're not celebrating what happened before. We're trying to celebrate each other and bring us happiness for the future to come.
That's right. And by 1939, we all forgot what it was about because who was it? Oh, yeah, 1939, Franklin D. Roosevelt moved the holiday up a week in an attempt to spur retail sales during the Great Depression. Roosevelt's plan, known derisively as Franksgiving, was met with passionate opposition, and in 1941, the president reluctantly signed a bill making Thanksgiving the fourth Thursday in November.
Wait, for some reason, I don't know that. So are you telling me that Canadian Thanksgiving is the real Thanksgiving?
I didn't even know Canada had Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they do. They do it. I think it's a week before us. So I'm
a week before or a week after?
A week before us.
Oh,
that's what it said, right? He moved it a week, which is the third week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they do it a week before us, would be the second week, which therefore would be the real Thanksgiving. Dude, I have a buddy in Canada that we always make fun of and say, "You're celebrating the fake Thanksgiving." Oh no.
Well, so what happened was that it was supposed to be the third Thanksgiving, but sometimes in a year we have, I think we have 4 or 5 weeks in November.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, it just worked out. But yeah, I think.
See, even thinking about that though, the reason he changed it was also at the same time for good, and it's hard to take the good out of everything, because it can also, you can view it as a bad thing. Like, he wanted sales, which means maybe he got more money, but at the same time, it was to boost the economy, which would make everyone a little bit more happy, or more people more happy. So it's kind of that, like, it's a lot of the give and take, and sometimes people just take the bad side of it instead of the good side of it, and vice versa. And it's hard. It's hard to decide on what side you want to be on for every subject.
Well, I think that whether he was right or wrong to improve the sales for during the Great Depression, and I get it, you're closer to the holiday, which is Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you basically get like 2 months where you're gonna have higher sales and more. The economy is gonna flourish a little bit more. I don't think that that's the thing that we should focus on.
Yeah.
The important thing is that Thanksgiving is a day to give thanks, to family, to people you appreciate. And nowadays, Thanksgiving has become, Black Friday. Right now, well, I don't know about this year, but I remember last year, Thanksgiving started when Thanksgiving dinner ended, which was like at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Like we would finish eating, and then, Macy's is open from 7 to 2 a.m. I'm like, wait, what? Or
yeah, and it was that Friday, or sorry, yeah. So the Friday, like the actual day part, they would close like all stores early to then do another sale later on that night, right?
Yeah.
So like they'd be open until like noon, close down for like 3 hours to like restock, and then reopen back up.
Yep.
And it's like, why not just stay closed over here and do your normal hours and just restock? Let people celebrate.
Well, people started getting into it. I mean, you saw what was it, like 5 years ago? We saw people getting trampled for Black Friday. Remember that?
I didn't.
Was it five?
No, when
6
we
years
went,
ago?
we went, and it was pretty lame because we went to the mall and there was like 3 stores open. Remember that?
Yeah, but
I did notice this year on Thanksgiving, like driving to your house, that a whole lot more places were closed. Like there was Carl's Jr.'s closed. I drove by 2 McDonald's. One of the 2 was closed. The only thing that I actually saw like open and seemed like clearly that it was going to stay open was a donut shop. Everything else was shut down. Like grocery stores, they were still open, but you could expect that because people need the groceries.
last minute things.
And I think right now too, there's some rules around grocery stores where they have to stay open if they're in business.
They're essential.
Well, no, I think it's because of what's going on. Grocery stores can't just close their doors for holidays and stuff like that because of what's going on right now. But yeah, outside of that, everything else was shut down, and I don't remember seeing that. I don't remember seeing fast food places shut down. Like I think even some of I think I drove by a Denny's and it was closed.
I think it's COVID.
It's that and
because
resetting. There's
hadn't we been closed for COVID, everything would be open.
That's why
Everything.
I'm wondering if holidays will change now because of this as well.
I think that everything's going to change
because they're going to see how we need reset days like Thanksgiving, and if everyone doesn't get to do it, and I would probably say the most stressed out majority of the world would be what you would consider the lower end workers, which would be the fast food workers, the restaurants, all those places. Those people need to be reset, and I feel like there was probably a lot more people in a bad place that needs resetting in lower end jobs like that. Like I would love to have a day off. The only problem is that the days off that everyone else has days off are the busiest parts of the year in these restaurant businesses because now all these people who spend a ton of money have the time to go out. So it's like that give and take. Like when it sucks, but you also want the time off because everyone else has the time off.
But it's the time where you make the most money.
Yeah.
Well, as a server,
Yeah.
or in the restaurant business.
And at the same time, in a lot of those kind of places, you don't have the option to take that day off. It's like when you sign up for the job, it's like this is a mandatory day of work. And
Right.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But so Black Friday, man. Did you purchase anything at all?
Most of the time when I go to Black Friday, I really don't get anything. There was one year I went and I had money that I could spend. So I decided to get something big. And when I went out and I looked around, I ended up not getting anything but clothes. And I was just like, I don't know what it was. I feel like it was a lot of hype behind something. And when I finally went out, I didn't see what everyone was hyping up. And I was just, I got clothes because clothes were cheap and I need clothes.
It's a big hype. It's
Yeah.
the biggest hype of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. This year, you're getting older when the things you buy on Black Friday are things that are going to make your back better. I bought a mattress because
really?
ours was like 8 years old.
What
Like
kind of
it was-
mattress did you get? What, it was soft or hard?
It's I don't know. I think it was like a hybrid of both.
So it's like medium.
It's pretty
There's
firm.
there's
It's
like
pretty
soft, firm, and
It's like
medium.
soft at the top but firm, like an inch in.
Dude,
Like an inch or 2 inches in.
I started sleeping on a hard bed. Dude, there's so many more benefits to a hard bed than a soft bed. Like the soft bed is comfy the moment you sit on it. But then outside of that, the longer you sit, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
A hard bed, you sit on it, you feel just as comfortable the moment you sat down as the moment you get up. And when you get up, you're not. Oh, my son sleeps next to me, so when I get up, I don't wake him up.
Right.
Or like even with the wife, if you got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, she probably wouldn't even feel you get off the bed. Like you don't feel that sink in.
Yeah, I think
It was so
this
much
one.
better.
I think this one. It's what's it called?
So
It's
I
a
give
Lisa.
thanks to my bed.
It's a Lisa or something like that. It's I think it's like, I don't know. I saw that it was better than the Nectar, because we tried all of those, and it was like $500 off. So it was like, oh, that's a good buy.
So to bring it back, you said that we moved Thanksgiving to try to boost the economy, and that's where Black Friday came from.
Right.
So now we have two of the biggest gluttonous parts of the year back to back. Thanksgiving, gluttony to the max. Eat as much food as you can, make as much food as you can. Next day, businesses sell everything cheap. Buy as much as you can for however much you can. And then we have to wait 20 some odd days to Christmas to then give.
Well, we wait. Oh yeah. Because then it's a whole weekend, right? So it's a whole weekend of gluttony. It's Thanksgiving. So actually, it's like 4 days, because I started Wednesday. We had turkey pozole Wednesday. Then it was Thursday, and then the weekend we didn't really do much. But tomorrow, which is tomorrow here in the States, it's Monday. It's Cyber Monday, where you get quote unquote deals online. So it's like the whole weekend
Electronic sales.
for electronic sales.
Yeah.
And then, we wait about a whole, 17 odd days or something like that. Before you start.
Cyber Monday, I think, came to be to completely wash out the remainder of stock that wasn't sold on Black Friday. To reset for the next year, so the improvements that are coming out can then be sent.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think of. We're buying all the stuff they're trying to get rid of so that they can give us the new stuff in a month that no one's going to buy because they just bought all this new stuff now.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy, but also I understand why they do that. Because if we didn't buy the old stuff, we wouldn't be making new stuff.
Yeah.
So
because they're not getting that money back to produce the new.
Yeah, and unfortunately, man, the US, I think we were talking about this a few weeks ago. The US doesn't really have a lot of culture, a lot of tradition besides holidays. And it's revolving consumerism. Everything's about consuming. Right now, okay. What this weekend, it was gluttony to the max, like you said. You ate until you couldn't move.
Yeah.
You purchased until your wallet was dry. And you probably watched movies until you could not watch anymore.
Yeah.
Those three things by itself, the entertainment, the food, and like material stuff that you buy.
Yeah.
I understand how that really boosts the economy. I wonder what the numbers are for this weekend compared to, the numbers throughout the whole year. I wonder if it's like maybe like a quarter of it comes from like the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That would be really interesting to look into and see how much actually is being spent on during the holiday season. Outside of this, what do we have? We have Easter. Like, not everybody celebrates Easter. What do we have? Summer. People take vacations.
Day.
Valentine's Day.
Easter, Halloween, 4th of July. It's actually, if you think about it through the holidays, there's not through Christmas holidays. I mean, all holidays in general. That I personally hate that whole holidays concept. Like, I don't celebrate holidays. I celebrate one holiday at a time. So whatever it is, regardless what it is.
What do you mean you don't celebrate holidays?
They say holidays, meaning Christmas, Thanksgiving, Kwanzaa. I don't know all. I personally don't even know any of these other holidays that get lumped up in holidays. You know how if you go out right now, people won't say Merry Christmas to you. They're going to say Happy Holidays.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's all of these different holidays.
Right.
But if I were to walk out of let's just say a Macy's and someone said Merry Christmas, and then I walk out of a Raising Cane's and they said like Happy Kwanzaa, like I wouldn't be like, oh, you said Kwanzaa to me? I don't celebrate that. Like, I don't care. If you're celebrating it, cool. You told me happy something. Like, enjoy your day. Like, it's essentially what they're saying and where they're going. So I don't understand why people find the hostility in that.
Well, I think that it's because you're imposing your beliefs on somebody.
You're not.
So if somebody says, happy, would you say Kwanzaa?
Yeah.
And you're not you're somebody that takes things personal. You'd be like, well, why are you imposing? I don't believe in that. Yeah, people would get upset.
You say thanks and you move on.
No, look, the logical person, right? As a logical person would say that. There are people who are attached to their ideas, to their beliefs, and to their religion. That's fine. I mean, you're free to do that, anywhere. Besides some countries, but I'm fine. You can believe in whatever you believe. I believe in whatever I believe in, and as long as you're not telling me what to believe, and I'm not telling you what you should believe, I think we come into a mutual understanding. But there are some people who are attached to their ideas, and so much that they identify with them. So if you catch somebody on an off day, right, and then they already have a shitty day. Maybe they haven't been working through COVID. Maybe somebody in their family died of COVID, and then you tell them, "Oh, Merry Christmas," but they're not even Christian, or they don't even believe in Christmas. Yeah, they would take that very personal, and that's where the conflict comes in. So, Happy Holidays is the universal term that says whatever you're celebrating, I hope you have a great day if you're celebrating whatever you're celebrating. So, when you said I don't believe in holidays, is because you believe in a certain holiday.
No. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is I don't like that people are forced into saying like Happy Holidays. Like when I worked at the restaurant, they said, don't say Merry Christmas, just say Happy Holidays. Because you never know what's going to happen, and it's going to affect, someone's going to try to fight with you or something, and they're not going to come back to the restaurant over you saying Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays. So is it worth it to say Merry Christmas and not have someone come back? Or can you just say Happy Holidays, which includes everyone, and you can go on? I understand that's what we were talking about earlier, the good and the bad. Is it really that important to say Merry Christmas? But at the same time, do you want to just say Happy Holidays, have that same message of happiness going out, and someone returning to your business? It's like, I don't know. It's just, I guess now thinking about it that way, it's not necessarily the biggest of deals to say Happy Holidays. It's just one of those things that's now annoying to say.
Well, why is it annoying? Because you identify with your belief? Or because somebody is saying you need to do this?
Sure, because someone's saying that. But at the same time, it has nothing to do with the belief of I want to celebrate Christmas over Kwanzaa or over... I don't know any of the other type of holidays between this time, so I can't really compare. I don't care which one you celebrate. Go ahead and tell me. But let me also say the one that I celebrate. Who cares? I understand if people take it like...
There's two... I mean, like, you can't... I don't think you can say that, because what if they say, well, I celebrate... Let's say that they are... let's say that they're a Satanist. You say, Merry Christmas. They're like, the Lord of the Light is the true God. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that response, dude.
But
Like,
my point is, someone comes up and says Happy Satan Day. I don't know if they have something like that, but
I'm sure they have something.
I'm not gonna turn around and just be like, oh no. Like,
Yeah,
no.
you'd be
I'd be
like,
like, okay, have a good day, and I would leave.
but would you give them the horn Pledge of Allegiance?
No,
Exactly.
I would just leave.
Look, you have to understand the people. We don't all think alike, right?
Yeah,
So,
but we should
for
also
you-
know that.
No, but for you, it's not a big deal. Maybe you don't care for it as much as somebody else. There's levels to this, dude. There's people that they're so in. Okay, we were talking about Scientology and about all these cults back like an episode or two ago. How do you get somebody to believe in Scientology? It means that these people are so in their head, like thinking about that this is the right thing. This is the idea that's going to save you. Like Christmas, okay? We don't really have any proof, right? For anything. We don't have any proof. Yet we believe in certain things. Like when you're a kid, you believe in Santa Claus. You don't have the proof that it actually exists unless somebody tells you or shows you what actually happens. How do you change that mentality? You can't. You can't say like, oh, you have to believe this. You have to believe that. You can't. So, it's courteous to be like, oh, part of being human is that we're different. So I respect your belief. So happy holidays. Instead of, well, you shouldn't care what I say. You should take it as what it is. No, like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. You can't say that to people.
Let's go back the other way then. We're talking about if there's a holiday that you don't support and you don't like, and if someone were to say it to you, it would set you off, right? So by you saying happy holidays, you're now saying happy whatever that holiday is as well. So wouldn't that just set you off just as much? Because now you're saying it back, where before you could just be like, okay, and move on.
Well, look.
That's where it comes up to. It's like, I can't say happy holidays because there's no other holidays. I don't even know. I know of Kwanzaa because it's been it's been talked about in jokes, and they were talked about it in the NBA one year a lot for some reason, and that's the reason I know it. I don't even know what they're doing.
So shouldn't you be educated?
But why? Sure, maybe I can learn what these holidays are, but why would I say happy holidays if I don't even know there's other holidays?
Well, I mean,
it's like I wouldn't say happy Easter if I didn't know Easter existed.
Well, okay, so what do you say that somebody's ignorance is their fault or your fault?
Ignorance for what though?
Okay, for you.
If I don't know something, I can't be ignorant about it unless I have been told about it and choose to believe something differently.
Well, do you know that there are other holidays, right? Whether you know
I assume
of
there's
them,
other holidays, sure.
Well, I'm sure because you know that there's Christmas. You just mentioned that there's Kwanzaa. So in the same manner, you know that there are many other holidays that you and I don't celebrate, right?
Sure.
So wouldn't you say that it would be ignorant to say, I don't know of any other holidays, yet you do know that there are other holidays that exist, but you don't necessarily know the name of them or what they celebrate.
Sure.
So,
but then I would have to research every single day of my life about what today is. Today, I did that the other day. I looked up what today was, and it ended up being National Men's Day. Did you even know there was a National Men's Day? No, because if we brought that up as a big thing, it would be a big issue because every day is Man's Day.
Well, look,
like, you know what I mean? That's what I talk about. We can't just keep pushing ourselves into that. We have to be thankful for what we have and be thankful for it. Yes, sure, when you learn new things, incorporate it.
Yes,
okay.
but don't hang on. Let's go back into the main point of what you said. You don't have time to educate yourself on all the holidays that everybody celebrates. Mm-hmm. So guess what makes it easier to do? Or guess what is easier to do? Happy holidays. It doesn't matter if it's Happy Men's Day, Happy Women's Day, Happy whatever's day, Happy whatever. The fact that is that we found something, a slogan, so universally, accepted between everything and all the holidays that everybody celebrates. Why not just say that instead of saying
it's directed towards a certain part of the year and not the whole year. This entertains the holidays from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Is that by fact, or can you say Happy Holiday during
Oh no, you
Easter?
Can say it, but
That's
it's
my
not.
point.
It doesn't hold the same meaning.
Well, you don't know that.
Yes, it's.
Well, maybe it doesn't. It maybe doesn't have. It doesn't hold the
when
same.
Have you ever heard Happy Holiday not between Thanksgiving and Christmas? You don't.
Easter.
It doesn't happen.
Easter.
No.
Easter.
No one says Happy Holidays during Easter. What other holidays are during Easter?
Maybe you haven't
No one
been.
says that.
What are you talking about? You just said that there's a million.
Okay, let's test it this year. Easter is 4 months away. In 4 months, we won't say anything. And let's see how many times we hear that. I can guarantee you.
I'm gonna make you
outside,
shirt.
outside,
Happy Holidays.
Outside of someone saying the specific word like happy and holiday, it will not be said as happy holidays. Like if someone says, "Oh, this is a happy holiday," that's not the same as saying happy holidays.
Okay, so what's
the meaning behind the
your
word
point
directed? There? It's like if I were to go to a club, like I use this example all the time, and I say my friends.
Hang on. Let's not use this example because
it's a perfect example because it's the intent behind the words that is what makes the words mean anything.
So wouldn't you say that Happy Holidays, whether it's in it means, what does Happy Holidays mean?
It's the celebration of holidays between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
That's what it means.
Yes.
It's not Happy Holiday. I don't see.
Or Thanksgiving and the end of the year.
I don't see where you're getting that from the phrase Happy Holidays. It doesn't say Happy Holidays between Thanksgiving and the end of the year.
Yes, there's no definition, but the intent behind the word. It's like, okay, we have Steve here, right? If we have a line of 15 Steves and you've never met anyone but the one Steve and you say, "Hey, Steve," you're not saying "Hey, Steve" to all 15 of them. You're saying "Hey, Steve" to that specific one.
Right.
And that's where it comes into play when you say Happy Holidays.
Okay. Yes.
You're saying about that specific time frame, those specific holidays, not all holidays altogether.
But you do understand that this is a very personal view.
It's not a personal view.
It's not?
So
you're speaking on behalf of the human race.
I'm not speaking of.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
You're
missing the intent of the word is for this.
Let me explain myself, okay? You're saying that in general, Happy Holidays is said between Thanksgiving and the end of the year.
This specific way of saying Happy Holidays, yes.
Okay, how many ways of saying Happy Holidays is there?
There's many ways of saying it. That's why there's context behind sentences. That's why there's words that sound the same but mean different things.
Okay, so give me other examples of Happy Holidays throughout the year.
Like I gave you one, like someone saying that today is a happy holiday.
Okay, we're not talking about today is a happy holiday. I'm saying Happy Holidays as a greeting or as a goodbye.
The holidays that I had were very fun.
That's not the same phrase.
Exactly, that's my point.
No, that isn't your point. Your point is
that's my point. You can use those words, but use them in different contexts.
I'm not saying if you can twist around the words. You're saying specifically the Happy Holidays content to Thanksgiving through the end of the year.
Yes. When
that's not true. Happy Holidays means happy holidays.
So me saying happy holidays means that I'm telling you happy Easter?
In a way, if it's during Easter, yes.
But that's my point, is that
what is your
the
point?
term is not used during any other parts of the year except for from Thanksgiving.
But I'm saying to you that this is a very personal view because you don't get this. No, you don't. You're not around people that if they celebrate things during that time, dude, we're in a melting pot.
I've never once heard someone say happy holidays on Valentine's Day or on Easter or on Halloween or on 4th of July or any of that. You don't see it.
Yes,
you will never
but you're
see it.
one person in 300
Let's put up a poll.
I'll put up a poll. You're one person between 400 million people in the US and nearly 8 billion people in the world. You can't tell me that nobody else says happy holidays.
No. Okay. Like I said, people can say those words. The intent behind the words means something specific.
Yes, but I'm saying that for you,
just like how they use the same thing. Whiskey and bourbon are the same. But the words mean two different things because of what is behind it, how you make it, what is to come of it.
I understand that concept, Greg. But what I'm telling you is that you're saying that you don't like people saying happy holidays during these times.
No, I said I don't like it. I didn't say other people can't say it. I said I don't like it.
You don't like to say happy holidays.
No, I
you
don't.
prefer to say Merry Christmas, and people should,
or Happy Thanksgiving, or
people should
Happy
take
Kwanzaa,
it,
or
and
whatever.
people should interpret it into their own.
They don't have to interpret it. If someone came up to you and said Happy Christmas, you don't have to say it back. You can say thank you and move on.
Okay, now you're losing me because you had one point. Now you're going to another point.
No, it's like what we talked about with your mom. How you say I love you, and then she doesn't say it, and then you say I love you again. You're imposing your view of saying I love you on her, and you're waiting for her to say I love you back.
Yes, and I told you.
Why doesn't she just say thank you and move on?
But I told you I like to make her uncomfortable.
So
and I'm breaking the cycle in front of her so she can understand that it's okay. That it's okay.
Yeah, so it should be okay to say thanks.
Right.
Say that's my. I guess we have the same point. It's just we're fighting it backwards.
You're
fighting it on one. I'm fighting it on the other.
No, because you try to make a point in one way, but then branch out to the outskirts, and then try to bring it back into the same thing.
Use a different example in the same sense because the words have specific meanings behind them, even if they're the same words.
Okay, but we're talking specifically of happy holidays and how you don't like to use it, and you're saying that I shouldn't have to use it. This is something that I don't like. People should, if I say Merry Christmas, they should take it as Merry Kwanzaa.
No, I never said that.
That's exactly what you're saying.
No, that's not at all what I'm saying.
Okay,
if I say Happy Christmas, I mean Happy Christmas. If you don't celebrate it, then what does it matter?
Okay, and I told you that people can take it personal.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you just want to say Happy Holidays?
Because I don't celebrate holidays.
But that's what I'm saying. That's a very personal view.
Sure. But it's the same thing as if someone walked up to you and didn't know your name and said, hey, dude, should I take that as you're being rude to me because you're not saying my name?
Nowadays, yes.
No. How would that person know my name?
But
how would I know you don't celebrate
nowadays
Christmas?
You have to ask.
How would I know? But that's my point.
You
don't have to. You should not have had to do that. Sure, it's polite to, in the conversation, say, hey, what's your name or something like that. But you don't have to start off the conversation with that. You can say, hey, dude,
your point,
how are you doing?
Your point is what? What is your point?
You should be able to not be restricted by having to say happy holidays.
Okay. And you already have that. That's called freedom of speech. Whether you offend them or not, you already have that.
Sure.
Okay. My point is, in order to not be a douche and impose your belief on other people, you say what's universally accepted, which is the translation is happy holidays. It means whatever you're celebrating at whatever point in time of the year, I hope that you have a wonderful time.
How does it not make it, in the word you use, douchey back to now make me have to abide by all these holidays when we can just do what we're doing? If you wanted to say Kwanzaa to me and I don't celebrate, go for it. Who cares?
I know. But so, when we're talking
why is it
about
not douchey the other way around that now I have to change?
Why? Okay. Because when you at first, as a person, okay, you can you have a certain character, right?
Okay.
You can be a good guy or you can be a bad guy or whatever. The way you present yourself to other people can either hurt them or make them feel good, right?
Sure.
On the other end, when people do certain things to you, when you're on that receiving end, if someone says things that maybe you find offensive and that you don't like, it's going to be hurtful. But in this instance, for you, you're saying, I don't care what you say. And I'm saying that's a very personal view. A lot of people actually do care. And in order for you not to come across as a douche, is you put their, you put them first because you don't care. So it doesn't mean that they don't care.
No, but see, now you're taking one example of something that I wouldn't care about and turning it into something else.
What are you talking about?
I would care if I'm forced to say Happy Kwanzaa back because I don't celebrate Kwanzaa.
Exactly.
So by me having to say Happy Holidays back to someone or saying it in the first place is the same as saying, hey, you need to say it back. I don't need to say it back. No one needs to be forced to say anything. If I say Happy Christmas to you and you don't celebrate Christmas, you can ignore me. You can walk away. Sure, it'd be rude to me speaking to you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you said, it would be rude of me saying Happy Christmas to you. So in that sense, we're both being rude to each other and we should move on.
That's why both of you would say Happy Holidays and nobody.
You just say have a good day.
And if you're a server, if you say Happy Holidays, you get a tip, right?
No.
No?
No.
Wouldn't you say that if you treat them with more respect and you cater to them more and then you leave them with an impression of, man, damn, that guy was really nice. Or
you can be nice without having to say that.
Or you clean up and you don't even acknowledge them.
No, you can still acknowledge them, but you don't have to jump into saying holidays or Christmas or Kwanzaa. Like,
okay,
that's
sir,
my point.
Sir, what are you here to celebrate? Oh, I'm here to celebrate I'm here to celebrate Thanksgiving. It's a Thanksgiving dinner, but let's not say Thanksgiving. Let's say we're here to celebrate the holiday, but you don't know what holiday they're celebrating. Now, this person looks, I wouldn't say Jewish because they probably wouldn't be eating at a southern place, but let's say, I don't know, let's just say they're from a different ethnicity. Let's just say they're Mexican for the sake.
Okay.
And then you say, okay, well, this is our special. This is what we have. And you serve them, you give them everything. And at the end, the closing line would be either Happy Holidays or Happy Thanksgiving, but you don't really know what it is. And you say, oh, Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, what? Like, I don't celebrate that. I'm Mexican.
Okay.
And they're like, man, that guy was a douche. Like, they wouldn't tip you the same as opposed if you said, Happy Holidays. Hope you have a wonderful evening. And they'd be like, oh man, that guy really gets it. You're giving two perceptions. I'm not saying one or the other is wrong. Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying I personally don't like saying that because it just sounds ridiculous to me. And if someone said it to me, I don't care. But I would say Happy Christmas back.
Right.
Instead of saying Happy Holiday back.
What do you say that? What do you say that?
Not in a facetious manner. But
I know. I understand. I'm not saying you're a bad guy.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that.
But you do understand that you're saying it's to me. When you say that to me, doing this and that is annoying, it's very, very personal to your perception. And for you to say that should be the status quo amongst other people, I think that would not hold up in conversation.
Think by taking that concept of talking back to someone in a broad way, in a broad term, makes us not be able to speak about a lot of things. So like how you said with the restaurant example, and how there are certain religions like a lot of Muslims won't eat pork. And I've served a lot of Muslim people before in the restaurant, and they come in and they say, hey, what's the best thing on the menu? My favorite thing was a pork sandwich that was on Texas toast with cheese, barbecue sauce, and you can add bacon or whatever else you want on it. Was it rude for me to have offered the pork sandwich without knowing they were Muslim?
Well, in that,
that's the concept that I'm trying to say,
Yeah,
is
but
that
see, that's
it's not
very-
rude because I don't know. I can't assume from you that you're this way or that way.
but see,
it's not
that's
rude.
that's a very
because I don't know.
specific. That's a very specific situation because one, you're at a restaurant. Two, if they are Muslim, they have to know that they're in a southern.
But-
They're in a southern.
Sure, we don't only serve pork.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Exactly, but if you go to a southern restaurant, you know that you're gonna expect pork, ribs, barbecue.
Yeah.
Right.
Beef,
So
steaks,
in that
fish.
specific situation, that I understand what you're coming from is that, well, my favorite thing is this. You don't have to eat it, and you're not being rude by that's your job. But when you say, it's you're a greeter at Walmart.
Mhm.
Okay. For you to say Merry Christmas, some people in the situation would find it either offensive or they would find it in a way that it's like, well, this guy, I don't celebrate that. Like, maybe they wouldn't say anything, but you wouldn't make them feel good. And that's my point. Like,
But that's the same exact example.
no,
You
because
don't
it's
know.
two different situations.
Don't know. It's two different situations, but the same example of speech. The same example of saying something without having the full knowledge beforehand. If someone came up to me and said, I don't celebrate Christmas after that, I'd be like, okay, I hope you have a good day. Like, there's no ill intent when you say it. If there was ill intent, then that changes it. I wouldn't ill intently say Happy Christmas if it was going to piss someone off.
I know, but you have a very specific job, okay? When you are a greeter, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have a specific job. It's to make people feel at home. That's your job.
So then we should just
It's not
ignore
like-
all of it and just say, have a great day. I hope you do well. And
That's a very personal thing. You can say that.
And that's my point, though, is it extracts from being able to have culture, from being able to have anything. We have no culture, like we talked about in the United States.
But this is
and
the
by
thing.
removing the few things that the majority celebrate in, let's say the majority of the United States celebrates 4th of July, right? There's a few people. Majority of people celebrate Valentine's Day, regardless if they have someone to celebrate it with or not. They say Happy Valentine's Day, even if they're single. They don't take their significant other out. Like I say to my son, the kids bring Valentine's Day cards to school. It's people still can do what they want and not be offended by some simple words of happiness. Even if someone said Happy Satan Day to me, they're still wishing goodwill to me.
Are they?
I would assume so, in a sense. You know what I mean?
Look, I'm not arguing with you about what we should or can or can't say. That's not the point here. We're talking about being, I don't know. First of all, we're talking about being grateful, right?
Yeah. Be grateful for the compliment of happiness being given to you.
You say happy day, happy days. The same thing. Happy days, happy holidays. It's whatever the important thing here is the distinction between the two things that I think that we have in conflict here. Number one, you're talking about I shouldn't have to say anything to these people. You're right. You shouldn't have to say anything. Or you can be offensive. It's fine. Like that's the United States. If there's culture, that's the culture right there. The fact that you can say anything, right? Whether if it's offensive or not, freedom of speech is top tier. That's the first thing. The second thing, when we talk about the intent, well, is there what are you what's accepted? Like, what do you want to come across as pleasant, especially if you're at work? Do you want to make people feel at home? The universal thing, like I said, when you greet, is to make people feel at home. Hi, welcome to Walmart. How can I help you? How could we be of service? These are all general things you can expect to hear. And when you're leaving, it's happy holidays. I hear it all the time because you're being
forced to say it straight out. Let's not.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Let's not cut
work.
this out. It's work. You're being told if you say this or you don't say this.
Yes, but it's also, if you think about how effective it is, as opposed to not saying that, it's probably better. And I'm talking about how
it's to guarantee people come back.
Yes, but how you come across to people, if you're pleasant, if you're not, like, it's very important to have a connection with your client.
Mm-hmm.
You know that as a server. It's very important to have a connection with your table. If they just come in, some people don't want to be bothered. You don't need to say anything to them. Great. Some people expect you to say, they come in here for a certain experience, and if you don't deliver, you ain't going to get a good tip. Right? And okay, and then the main point was, how do you come across to people? Are you coming across pleasant, or are you coming across a little asshole-ish? If you just, oh, thanks for coming, next table.
Yeah.
Like, is that,
intent? Yes.
Right. And so intent's everything, right? But during the times of celebration that are more now during the end of the year, I think we're in agreement with that. We're in agreement with that. There are more holidays, I think, that are celebrated during, the fall and winter than around the year for all holidays. Why not make people feel at home? Why not? If we're talking about being good and bad here, why not make them? Why not be a little selfless during these times of giving thanks? Maybe that's your action. Maybe that's how you give thanks. That's how you show your gratitude for other human beings, is by being a little selfless and putting yourself in their shoes.
But see, as opposed to saying, I'm not.
Well, I don't like that you make me say this.
No, but that's not the point. The point is not the words. It's the point of not being able to celebrate what you celebrate. Like I said, go ahead. Go ahead. If I'm walking out of Target and someone says Happy Kwanzaa to me, cool. If I walk out of Target and someone says Merry Christmas, cool. If I walk out and someone said Happy Thanksgiving, but that was 3 weeks ago, cool. It's not like, sure, I might think, oh, that was kind of weird, but it was. There's no ill will when it's said. Like if someone came up to you and said Happy Thanksgiving, like that'd be different than saying Happy Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's all about intent. And if you have a good intent, it should not matter what you say, and you should not be forcing people. And I understand, but what you're saying is we should limit what we say because it can be better for everyone else. But now we're limited to what we can say, so we can't speak.
That's not what I'm saying.
But no, that's what I'm saying is we're going to keep limiting ourselves over time, and it's just going to become uniformal. This is what you say. Don't say anything else unless it's to your direct friends.
There are things that really affect it, and there are things that don't really affect it. Like there are things that if you say, well, you can't say, when people start saying, you can't say this, you can't say that, you're going to get people
doing. Jobs are doing that. You can't say Merry Christmas. You can't. I don't know. I think places. I don't think it's as common to say Happy Thanksgiving outside of the day of. I mean, you do hear it, but I don't think it's as common. So usually they bring in the holidays things, and jobs say you cannot say Happy Thanksgiving. You cannot say Merry Christmas. You say Happy Holidays. Mm-hmm. That is limiting what you can say. And that is where it comes to be that it should be more just have good intent.
I know, but how do you have good intent? Like, what if Christmas for somebody is like celebrating the devil for you? Like,
so I don't celebrate it.
I know, but if
I'm not forcing you to celebrate Christmas.
I know, but if someone, like I said, if someone is having a bad day and they're like at the last thread, okay? And then here comes Greg. Yo, happy Merry Christmas. Ho ho ho.
But see, that's
and
my
the
point,
guy's like, oh, that's it. I'm gonna fucking shoot up the whole place right now.
But that's my point, is we don't say it during Valentine's Day. I've been single for so many years and I hear Happy Valentine's Day all the time. So should I be able to blow up and get all mad about that?
How does that make you feel?
It doesn't.
It doesn't make you feel anything.
I don't care. When Valentine's Day comes up, it just means my birthday's coming up. Like, this is like, it doesn't mean anything. It's not, Greg, a big deal. Someone says
I
it.
know what you're saying. I know where you stand. But what I'm saying is that's very personal.
But
you can't impose your belief of that not affecting you on other people.
Sure.
It does affect other people.
Some people are sad because they don't have someone to do it. But that doesn't change what it is.
The reality is that
just don't celebrate it.
The reality is that you come across like no, not that you come across, but the way you're gonna come across to people if there's two versions of you, okay? And I know your versions, okay? We've been friends for a long time. And this conversation is I think we both understand where we're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is that the belief, your personal belief that it should be okay to say whatever is very personal. Not everybody has that. And I'm saying if you want to be courteous to your fellow humans, this is a better way to approach things instead of clashing heads with people. We don't want to clash heads. We already have that enough. We have that during traffic. We have that during emails going back and forth. We have that when people get fired. We have that during when people just talk shit behind everybody's back. It's better to be a little bit more courteous, with your fellow humans, and have a little bit more selflessness to understand that not everybody thinks like the way you do and I do. And this podcast is perfect. I want people to come in here and comment and say, you know what? Hashtag, that's the same concept. I want people to come in here and engage with us and have a conversation with, maybe what I'm saying is wrong. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Maybe you don't know what you're talking about. And people are going to call us out on it. And the way they do it, that's where the intent comes in. But wouldn't you say it's better for everybody out there during these times of giving thanks and being grateful to be courteous and not selfless? This is what it's about. The
problem though, is if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, is it what it's really about? That's where it comes down to.
Well, there's two things there. There's two things there. Thanksgiving as a holiday and where it came from. Actually, I read that in that same article I was reading, and in fact, let me find it for you.
No, I understand what you're saying, where it came from and all that. But if you don't celebrate it, then that's not. Those people aren't here to give thanks.
So let me read this for you. So let's see, where is it? Okay, Thanksgiving controversies. Okay, for some scholars, the jury is still out on whether the feast at Plymouth really constituted the first Thanksgiving in the United States. Indeed, historians have recorded other ceremonies of thanks among European settlers in North America that predate the Pilgrim celebration. In 1565, for instance, the Spanish explorer Pedro Menendez de Avila invited members for the local Timucua tribe to a dinner in St. Augustine, Florida. After holding a mass to thank God for his crew's safe arrival, on December 4th, 1619, when 38 British settlers reached a site known as Berkeley 100 on the banks of Virginia's James River, they read a proclamation designated the date as, quote, a day of thanksgiving to Almighty God, end quote. Some Native Americans and many others take issue with how the Thanksgiving story is presented in the American public, especially to school children. In their view, the traditional narrative paints a deceptively sunny portrait of relations between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag people, masking the long and bloody history of conflict between Native Americans and European settlers that resulted in deaths of tens of thousands. Since 1970, protesters have gathered on the day designated as Thanksgiving at the top of Coles Hill, which overlooks Plymouth Rock, to commemorate a, quote, national day of mourning, end quote. Similar events are held in other parts of the country. So, the fact that we celebrate it a certain way doesn't mean that other people, some people think, oh, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, you're okay with millions or thousands of people dying in a war between the settlers and the Native American. But that's not what we celebrate. That's not what we're celebrating. We're celebrating the act of being grateful and giving thanks to our fellow family, friends, and, humans. That's what we celebrate. So that's where the intent comes in, right? So we have to make sure that we differentiate between and we make a very clear distinction between the two.
Two sides of the same coin.
Two sides of the same coin. Yeah.
That saying? Yeah. So I think we should wrap it back and just say thank you. Thank you, Marco, for being my friend. Thank you, Marco, for inviting me to your wedding. Thank you, Marco, for buying the microphones.
You know what? I don't believe you. And you know what? It's offensive to me. No. You already know. You know how I feel. What I really want to say is thank you to everybody who's been sticking with us during these tough times, during our, it's going to be 2 years almost that we've been doing the podcast. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to speak to people. I'm thankful for, having you here with me and, challenging the ideas that we both challenge the ideas, and we go into conversation, and we kind of, you have your perspective on things. I have my perspective on things. Our listeners have their own perspective on things. And it's important to note that everybody has a different point of view, right? Mm-hmm. But what we can all agree on is that, I have to be thankful for you, for our family, for friends, for supporting us during, this journey with the podcast. And that's the message is, we forget to be grateful. We forget to give thanks, whether it's through actions like Greg or saying it, through actions and saying it like me. It can make a difference in somebody's day.
Yep.
So I just want to say again, thank you for listening to this podcast. Again, we're on every platform. Your favorite platforms like Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. We usually do live streaming on YouTube every Thursday. This time we moved it up until Sunday because of the holiday. I thought that it was very important that we, instead of doing a podcast, we spent it with family and friends. So yeah. And what else did I miss, Greg?
We do have some merch on Teespring, which will be down in the description. You can check that out. Just make sure to on YouTube hit the like and subscribe button, because it'll notify you when we go live. We post 10 minutes before we go live on Instagram as well, which then goes out to the other platforms. That's about it. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us again. Happy holidays.